The chairman of the Jensen's Owners Club kindly gave me a pair of extensions for the hinge part of the spare wheel carrier. Bolts look offset. I don't know whether that's intentional or not. They appear to have centers of 2 3/8 of an inch. I think the chairman has Mark II and Mark I maybe. They don't appear to fit on my Mark III. Nevertheless, it did spur me on to getting the job done and getting the spare wheel out of the interior of the car. This is the rear right hand side. I've cleaned it up a little bit just so that see what it looks like. It's just a straightforward bolt fitting that goes straight through this hanger into the wheel carrier. The left rear, similar arrangement, straightforward bolt. The original tyres on my car were 205 65R15. The ones I've got on now are 225 70R15. And the width a little bigger. This is the diameter. So this is the tyre and wheel that I now need to fit into that carrier. It doesn't fit as it stands. This is what it looks like, the wheel carrier, when it's actually come off the lowering thread altogether and just sits down here. This is the rear near side, and you can reach that 1/2 inch nut alongside the springs. These particular extensions being too big, and you can see roughly how it looks. So I'm going to try a smaller extension. I'll measure the distance between the holes, and it could offset itself, it could move if it was on a piece there. And that turns out to be 1 1/4 inches. That's a galvanized wall strap. I'm going to drill out that hole and that hole. So I'm just going to cut down there and down there. That was the final result for 2 of them. And those holes are exactly 1 1/8 of an inch apart. Centre to centre, that is. One of the things that's apparent is the hole distances are different on this side, and that would be because the exhaust is quite close to the fuel tank on this side. If you look over the other side, the gap is greater. So I think this exhaust is higher up. I have to find a way of dropping it on that bracket. I have adjusted the exhaust on the other side by further elongating the hole on this bracket, so the exhaust on the other side drops a little bit. The gap now underneath the fuel tank is the same on both sides, and that's probably a good thing, keeping it further away from the fuel tank. That's in the fully up position with the larger tyre in place. It's just a small gap there, and it's the same on the other side. That's the bracket fitted. The tyre is partly down, and it's just starting to touch the exhaust. But because I haven't fixed tightly either of those bolts, it can rotate both top and bottom. And what appears to happen, this bracket will now twist upwards over the exhaust. In practice, maybe if I'd elongated the holes, it would have a similar effect, but I haven't. So at this point, you can see that bracket has moved into a different position, presumably because it's touching the exhaust. In that exact position, it's now possible to slide out the spare wheel. For me, that's enough to get the wheel out, so I'm pleased with that.